Hello and welcome to This and That. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hello, Dave.
Hello and welcome for all of you who are new here. This is the skating lesson where we are going to discuss everything that happened in skating this week. Papadakis Cizeron's new programs, the Junior Grand Prix in Who Gives a Fuck, and the Nebelhorn Trophy. I just don't remember where it was. It doesn't matter. It's all on YouTube.
Zagreb.
That's nice.
In a much better arena than where they do the golden spin.
Yeah,
Except I think at least 5 people go to golden spin. No one was at this particular event.
So if you are new here, please subscribe below and smash that like button. Jonathan, last week we were like, Lombardia, this one, that one. When you don't go there and they don't even see the outside aerial shots of where we are, like when you watch an old broadcast, it's all the same to me.
We need the fluff of all of them like sightseeing together or going to a souvenir shop in Zagreb.
For the people that go to the event, it's obviously a huge deal. But if you're just watching at home, like I miss the aerial shot of the arena where we are.
Oh, Dave, literally, I'm not joking. No one went to the event.
I know.
Like, I don't even know why they bowed.
It's youtube.com/ISU.
ISU Junior Grand Prix. Yeah.
That's where the event took place for me. Anyway, let's start off. We actually have some really sad news that came out last week. Keegan Messing's brother Paxton passed away. He was in a automobile accident. He was on a motorcycle, collided with someone. I think that was in an SUV. And he leaves behind a wife and 3 children. There is a GoFundMe link that has been shared on Twitter, on Facebook. You could certainly Google it. I know that a lot of people are reaching out, and they were very close in age. So I will also find that link and put it in the description box below.
Yeah,
horrible. On another newsy note, Daisuke Takahashi, always making news and making waves. We've talked about...
Always in my heart, Dave.
Oh, yes. Haven't we always said, oh, Daisuke would be such a beautiful ice dancer. What a wonderful ice dancer.
What edges and artistry he brings to everything he does, apparently in any discipline now.
Well, he's becoming an ice dancer with Kana Muramoto. I just know her first name. I mean, she's been like Kana... let's be honest, we never watched her with Chris Reed. Like, that was the one where you would
I saw them, like, live a couple times. So I have to say, I mean, they were never a factor. So I'd have to go back and really sort of see what her skating was like.
Basically, she learned ice dance from the Reed brother when he didn't want to give it up yet. After he and Kathy weren't skating together. I don't know if I know... Like, if I could pick Kana out of a lineup. I don't know. I've, never paid that close attention before. But what we do know is that they're only about 3 centimeters different in height. So this is very similar to Hawaiian and Baker, which we were talking about a lot. Right. When you have the size difference, it's really complicated for these dancers. And obviously Japan wants an ice dance team. Daisuke will bring so much energy and interest into the discipline, which is so fantastic for Japan. Yes. And he'll be such a great performer and so brilliant at it.
I think it will do a lot to legitimize the discipline for them. Really bring an interest to it. Yeah.
She has the experience to help teach him because she learned from Chris Reed. It was kind of like when you're in those partnerships that aren't going to last long term. But now it's going to be hard for them. They're going to probably have great components, great step sequences side by side, perhaps twizzles, but the lifts will be a challenge, I think, for them. I think that they
should have gone on Battle of the Blades to get a boost, a jump start.
They're going to be coached by Marina Zueva because they can afford her. I think this is great because it will motivate her. She's one of those people that she's had all of her success, so she needs someone to really excite her to come into the rink every day.
And if it's not him transitioning, oh my gosh, it wouldn't be anybody. I was intrigued, in my horrible cop-out celebrity tricks. I just wanted it to be Mao or somebody just totally jump shark and just have 2 amazing single skaters with tremendous skating skills skating together. But
it is good that he has an ice dancer because it's different and the turns are different. So a mohawk or a counter in singles, it's different. It's performed differently with different standards in ice dance. It has to be way more exact and blades. Yeah. So that was the interesting thing too, is that Daisuke is still going to perform at Japanese nationals in singles, and then I believe around January 1st is when he's moving to Marina. But with the Olympics 2.5 years away, even though it feels like we just had an Olympics, that's not that much time to learn a new discipline, adjust to a new partnership, and get adjusted to something like ice dance. So I imagine they've already had a tryout. I imagine perhaps they're skating together a bit now, but...
Yeah, you wonder why continue with the nationals then.
And I know he's such a brilliant talent, but if you're really serious about the ice dance, I would go now, and then you could just... maybe still work on your single skating, but now's not the time to injure yourself doing quads if you're going, or triple axels if you're going to try to move to ice dance. Right. I think that was the only
question mark
besides the height difference. Imagine if he did ice dance with Satoko. That would be amazing. Although he has the performance. I don't know if she can do all the different moods that ice dance requires. That would be a little bit different for her.
Yeah. Well, and I think his kind of energy could translate easy with a partner, and hers might be a little more insular.
And then some were like, well, why doesn't she do pairs? And you still have the jump issue with her. So, but it's like, what are you waiting for? Go, girl. Right. I could see Satoko as a ice dancer if she had a partner, maybe like Takahashi, to bring her out of her shell. But she may be just too straight and narrow for that.
She's on a tunnel. Yeah, she's got tunnel vision for this. Yeah.
Yeah. I just mean tunnel vision in life. Like, she seems like she's maybe a little
She's
vanilla.
not going to deviate from the plan.
You can't be too vanilla for ice dance. Even Tessa Virtue has a little Rocky Road in her, right? Like, we saw that Carmen. We saw those programs with Marie France. Like, she let it out. She didn't do just the Marina programs. So, and that's what we like about Daisuke. He can do it all. He can. So I think
versatile performer. Like, this will be really interesting to see. If they're smart, I hope they do a whole bunch of documentaries sort of following their path, because it would be a very fascinating thing to see them.
I imagine, like, to me, he is always so explosive and comes alive in a footwork sequence. Is he like Cizeron, where it's like, okay, can you put that in a pattern dance and move it along and contain it? And because that's, I think, will be one of the challenges. So I'm excited to see it. If I were Tim Coletto, I would be so pissed.
It was the first thing I thought about, because, he probably thought he really had a slam dunk here. And
look, he's got an advantage. At the same point, Daisuke is an exceptional talent. He's super famous, and he's going to help make that discipline important, and he's going to make you better. So he's going to make you work that much harder. So I think it's a good thing in the long run, but it is a risk. So but if you didn't have Daisuke pushing you, you may never get the qualifying score. They just missed the free dance at Worlds last year, so obviously, like, moving that little bit to light that extra fire, I think, is a positive thing for anyone. But let's talk about it, because we finally got to see Papadakis and Cizeron's new programs. We didn't know what the free dance was going to be, but look, we hear that they're going to do the same thing every year. People complain, and they're often from Canada.
The same people make the same complaints,
but some of them aren't self-aware about it. But anyway, the rhythm dance is so different, and we knew it was going to... The reaction that people had is not a surprise to me. People either love it, are confused, are holding, or they hate it automatically. And it's to fame. And the one thing that I noticed off the bat, before I even read any of the articles, is I was like, oh, they just finished this program. Like, to me, that was what I got.
Which is the point of this competition, you know what I mean?
Well, for them, right? Other teams, they're getting feedback and whatnot. Papadakis and Cizeron are on such a later time schedule.
Track. Yeah.
They don't have to do any of these senior Bs. They have later Grand Prix typically, so they have more time. So they don't have to worry. They have 1,000,001 ISU points. They don't have to worry about going to these other events, and they're confident enough in their abilities that they can just take their time and really work. And at least they're very well crafted, well developed programs. There's a lot of thought that's been put into them. So it's a rough draft that has had a lot of brainstorming and playing around, and they've had all those choreographic sessions probably where they've put a lot of thought in. But you can tell when they're doing a transition towards the second half of the program, they're going diagonal on the ice, and I'm like, oh, this is one of those areas where they have no idea what they're going to use to generate speed before, because it's literally just like they are not hauling here. Like they are just pushing across the ice. They are dying.
To be expected. Yeah.
It is, but I think we're not used to seeing them this... Like last year we didn't see them skate at the French Masters. Remember they turned the cameras off and no one had any cell phone videos of her in it.
That's why I feel like it might have been the same scenario.
It might have. I don't think it matters that we saw it versus... But I do think that... I think that your initial hesitation, I think some of it, obviously it has like... They're using 1 or 2 cameras. It's a very low budget in terms of filming this event. But I actually liked it. I did
too.
I liked it in a sense where I'm like, okay, this has like 6 weeks of someone screaming at them and figuring out like which way and where to get all of the speed and the talent. And you give this program 2-3 months and it's going to be really effective and fun and brilliant. And
again, we were talking about this a little bit in our Battle of the Blades recap. I think there is a swing in the ISU to have more of a flared, so you think you can dance, Dancing with the Stars. I mean, kind of effect to it. They want this sort of theme night fun thing, and they have gone with it. They're not apologizing.
They've always had themes, though. If you think about it, they've just been really boring themes for years.
Yeah, like Yankee polka can't, in and of itself, be the theme.
That's not sustainable for an art form like this. 30 Yankee polkas, 30 paso dobles, 30... they needed to do something that can generate attention. They need viral moments to kind of keep the sport alive and to generate interest. They need those.
This totally had mass general appeal. And I mean, the idea for all of these rhythm dances in general, a lot of people will be more inclined to sit through these rhythm dances who don't know all the players and all this sort of stuff. And they, again, totally went with it. They didn't apologize and kind of do a more jazzy, traditional Gene Kelly thing, which is kind of towing the line. It's testing the waters. They were like, fine, let's do it. Let's go there and do basically a dance class on ice, which would be very effective.
This is a Gabby program. This is like 2 years ago in the Ed Sheeran. She is the star of this dance, and I think it meets her vibe brilliantly. I think that she's developed to the point where she can really carry this, and he can be more in the background. Although
I'm still looking at those hips, because the way he can just move his hips, that's where it's the most interesting. And we'll talk about this with some of the other dancers with great arms or great edges and knees, but it's really in his hip movement that it just comes alive. It's pretty sensational.
They actually were giving me like a little bit Tessa Virtue in this. Like I could see Tessa getting into this kind of a program too.
Oh, I'm putting up a shield for those comments.
Well, I don't think that's... I just mean that it's a little bit accessible, but still fun and funk, and it has that it hits that sweet spot for me where like their Prince program or like, you know, like it like meets the Marie France. It's enough them, different enough, like it hits that sweet spot.
It's the right amount of accessible.
Yeah, the way their Prince program.
It's not lowest common denominator.
Right, like their Prince program pushed them away from the Marina cheese, away from like being like so beautiful all the time, and it was enough edge, enough current. And I think this Fame, especially, there's going to be a Fame program on Netflix, not Fame, sorry, there's going to be a chorus line, whatever. But it's enough, that genre, enough of like, we're going to wear a leotard and tights and be fabulous off of the heels of Fosse. Like, it's where pop culture is kind of going, and that kind of a thing coming back, and I have a feeling that it's brilliant. I watched it a couple of times, and I liked it more the more times I watched it, because that beginning is a little bit, it's going to take a couple, like, to get behind the 1, 2, 3, dun, 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 dun,
yeah, it kind of, like, took me a couple seconds to be like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you kind of can create that mood ahead of the time, because it's just like, bam, and you're in the...
I love the opening stretch, the sequence, where they're like, oh... I didn't know what I thought about it at first. I was like, this is different. This is different. And because it's not crafted yet and not, you know, well paced and not trained, I'm like, I don't know. But I do love, they have a little mini lift, and the camera really did a shitty job of getting it, but it's like, fly hi, and there's like a little mini lift, and she's like, hi, but you can't see her face. So
yeah.
I'm gonna live forever. And you know what? If Tessa and Scott can pretend to get down with their bad selves, so can the French. So
exactly. I think this is exactly what this pendulum swing is about.
And unlike Jonathan, I love both teams, so I can get away with talking about it. So
obviously, I like the Canadians. Obviously, I do. I just respond more in an emotional way. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Before I was yelling at Jonathan about why a church musician shouldn't refer to the person that turns their pages as their assistant all the time. I'm like, they have a name. What? But it is their assistant. I'm like...
It is. There's a whole movie called The Page Turner, and it's like a gay love story. I recommend
There was a young gay who works in a church that told me about his assistant like 20 times, who stays at his house, and I was like, you sound pretentious AF, just to let you know. Like,
just keeping it real.
Like, I don't refer to like, please call my secretary.
Yes, exactly.
Honey, all right. If you've capped out in your career at 30, you sound pretentious. Anyway, just letting it be known. Let's talk about the free dance, because this is the most... So it's different than what they've done before, and it's different than the contemporary, and yet it is still the most French, Marie France thing we have ever seen, perhaps. Like, we are going to be so French and to push it so far.
Well, you know what's so funny?
We will skate to the spoken word. Like, that is so...
Well,
speak about pretentious AF, and I love it. Yeah.
Well, when we did the World Pro with Alexander Julin and Mariah Usacheva doing that, like, totally weird hooded latex bodysuit thing.
Yes.
And in that way, when Sandra was like, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. This is so them. This is so exactly avant-garde in their version in that style. And I felt this completely exemplified this kind of... It's very in tune, I think, with the modern dance world.
Yes, it's exactly in tune with the modern dance world. People will love it. People that are into dance will love it.
Will get this. And I think that
the Torvill and Dean Virgin Moyer types will hate it, but...
Because they're not coming at it from the dance perspective, and I enjoy in where some of these disciplines get a little stale at times, that they're infusing more of the dance world.
It's a lot. Just like, it's a lot. What is it?
It's a lot for skating, especially.
I was once told that walking through a doorway could cause someone to forget even the most precious memories they had. Memories of good. Memories of bad. Olaf Arnold starts coming in.
Yeah, like you're getting the grovel too, because he had like a smoky effect. Yeah, so you're capturing that.
Of what it felt like to rest your head on a friend's shoulder that carries with it the creases from your last place dry. I mean, it's the most Marie France, Papadakis and Cizeron thing. There's so much stylized choreography, and like, it's all about the exhale and that moment when you're in the shower and those like droplets of water are falling off of your, like, it's just it's a mood. Okay, the whole program's
and I will say, like, even in the beginning when they're talking about
it's a rainy day,
love found and love lost or whatever it was, it's not that. Sometimes we talk about sign language choreography, and it wasn't that. It really, they were encapsulating the mood those words were trying to create. Like, I don't know, this was kind of next level modern dance to me.
Now, there's one part where they're either talking about a gaze or a look of your eyes or something, and they're getting into a lift, and you could tell their eyes kind of meet just briefly, without being corny, but it was kind of cool. Like, they hit it in the moment, and then they rotate up.
It's that right level of, because, you know, someone else could do it and be like, and then we're going to really let them know we're looking at each other on the word gaze.
And it's going to be, this program's going to be hard as shit. Like, it's going to take them 5 months to really nail it, but I think by the Worlds, it will be
It's going to be worth that effort. Yeah.
It's going to be kind of like last year's program that took a long time to push it, to develop them, but at the end of the day, I think with enough work, it'll be untouchable. Like, no one's going to be able to... Oh, remember when the French skated to spoken word and they won?
I don't see where the Russians, you know, they were unusually close maybe at this last year's Worlds in the scores. I would hope that the gap will become enormous with this kind of next level art, because this is moving it forward. This is not just more status quo.
And it's not lyrical where they're like just going into each other's arms.
Yeah.
Like there's none of that. Yet it's still avant-garde enough that people will still say that it's them and they'll still complain. It's like if you don't like them,
and people won't get it. People won't get it. And again, those are the same people that maybe aren't going to Lincoln Center for a modern dance thing. And they would just rather see Swan Lake, which is fine also, but you have to know it. And it's important for the sport and has a place, definitely.
Well, it's good that something different is happening, so it's not the same old schmaltz.
Bingo.
So,
yeah.
And there are plenty of people that give you the same old in ice dance. So there's
and literally 5 of them doing the same program. You know, I mean, it's just variations on a theme. So,
well, let's talk about the Junior Grand Prix. Where was it again?
Zagreb, I think. In Croatia, for sure. I'm pretty sure it was Zagreb. In a much nicer arena than it seemed like Golden Spin is normally held.
All right. Well, let's start with Daria Usacheva, because this was her moment to come back and win. Because remember, the Atari girls, they win. At the Abbey Lee Dance Company, we win at Sambo 70. Like, no second place, honey. That is the first
Haein Lee is representing the Candy Apples. Or what?
She's the Candy Apples, yes. Okay. The Koreans against the Russians. It's the rivalry we're all here for. So, Daria Usacheva, she had a great short program, but in the free, she did that thing that happens where she started with her really cool entrances into the double axel, and she messed up the double axel just enough that it was a little bit low and
although
shaky.
Somehow they still got like a positive GOE.
Well, because it had so many extra bullets to come into it, because she's starting from like a +4 or a +5. So when you deduct for the landing of what you would maybe give a -2 for, it still balances out to a positive overall, because you're adding all the entrance and the exit and the interesting positioning going into that. And she did save it, but that's, I think, hard to understand. But when you realize what she's doing, the entrance and stuff like that, she got tight from that. That affected her psychologically, and because of that first jump, because these programs are so jam-packed, she did not like
there's no time to reset
mentally, and then she missed the Lutz combo, which is more points, right? And the first element for her, though it's not worth a ton of points, she gets a lot of GOE on it typically, so that hurt her. Then when you botch 2 elements, that starts to really damn your components. And I thought that the rest of the program was fine. Like, she was hitting...
By the time she got to the Lutz Sau and the flip toe, like, all of a sudden, it was like a different skater that free. And you were like, oh, right, that's the girl.
But she does that thing, and Atari had this same entrance in her in Yulia's program where they do the flip. And it makes me nervous, the way they do I like to do my flip from a mohawk. I don't know, that the 3-turn makes me a little nervous, and the way that they're doing it like on a diagonal curve, and I just think it allows the flip to get a little sloppy and a little much with the upper body. And sure enough, she missed it the same way Yulia did at the Olympics on that curve. I just don't like it there. It's personal preference and my own OCD. But
it was kind of interesting because, I mean,
they've had a million skaters do it, by the way. These are just 2 people that have missed it. So
from the double axel, you kind of saw, this part like in the back of your head where it kind of like rotates forward and backwards. She clamped it right after that double axel almost for the rest of the program. And so it created like all of this tension in her neck and in her torso, and it became extra stiff for me to watch. And I think that was her kind of nerve, and it was just here. I don't know. I suddenly, that's when I felt like I was physicalizing her tension.
I think she was nervous.
Her. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with all that perfectionism, is she could have turned around and still clearly won, because it's Haein Lee did a very clean program, but it's clear the judges would have been happy to give it to Daria.
Well, because Daria, I think, is a little bit... I think Haein Lee has more, perhaps... I think Daria has a ton of potential. One, she figures out her mental game.
Right.
I think that... At least I thought that for Daria, it wasn't like she hit the beginning and then bombed the second half. Like, this was like something freaky happened, and you kind of have to learn from it, right? Where you have to get through it, and it happens, and we've all done it, where you want that perfect program. You probably trained that perfect program a million times, and you mess up the first movement, and you feel off, and you cannot let it go, because you're like,
But then it was interesting because she rebounded on those 2 triples and then made another mistake yet again afterwards. So it was kind of, she was going in and out.
So like even when I dove like in the summer, I remember that like my first dive would be like my big dive to get all my points where I knew like this is where I'm gonna like kill you. Like no one's gonna beat me on my front dive, even though it's worth the least, right? And then you mess it up a little bit, right? Or you don't do it the best, and like it kind of like ruins
the momentum.
Unless you have that time to reset, and you're like, the rest of this program is going to be phenomenal. Like when Nancy doubled the flip, and she responded well. Daria did the opposite. She was like Nancy in Prague, where it was like, oh crap. So it was not Nancy and Lillehammer. I think Daria will do better. I mean, look, she's going to make the final. I think, right? Because she had.
I would think with 2 silvers,
but not the year that Terry was hoping for with the juniors. It didn't just happen this year, right? Like Maya didn't make it. Now Daria is going to make it, but they're not undefeated across the board the way they were a year ago. So they have more than enough time to rebound for the final and sweep the podium, sweep the medals. But in the interim, and I think this is actually really good for the sport. Look, that Korea-Russia rivalry can fuel the sport for the next 15 years, okay? And that's a positive thing.
Yeah, it will be thrilling to watch,
As much as they have so much bitter blood, it can definitely cause interest. And you have a new skater that's now won twice. So it's not just a flash in the pan. This is someone who is standing up to the pressure, and she's developing consistency and confidence.
And has a great deal of likability. When she gasped in the kiss and cry when she saw the score, I was like, oh.
She's a nice soul out there.
And she has a different kind of jumping. I mean, a lot of the young Korean people we are seeing on the Junior Grand Prix, especially, there is such spring in addition to the rotation versus kind of, I'm used to this Russian junior tight rotation is the real gift there. But this also has nice height and trajectory to it. So it's a really nice combo.
And think about how much she pushes Eunsoo all the time. Because Eunsoo is used to being the pretty girl. And this one is a gorgeous skater. Yeah. And in her own right, she's having the better season so far. And I think that's going to push Eunsoo. And I think it's a really positive thing for Korean skating. I think it's really positive for skating at large that you have a country now that has a number of top skaters that are all pushing each other. And a
great deal of depth.
Depth and good technique. Right? So this is the kind of more jumping from the legs that we talk about technique-wise. And I think and she's gone through a growth spurt. Last year she was super tiny and would under-rotate some of the combos. I think she had that Kelly Clarkson song that she was skating to, and it would just be under-rotated enough on some of those combos where you weren't sure how it was going to be when she grew. And she's gone through the growth spurt. They did it right, yeah. She can still gain some more muscle and some more strength, but I think it's moving in the right direction. So, because a lot of times when you are itty-bitty and then you grow a lot, your body becomes like floppy, like Marin Honda, where she's like looks like she's kind of flopping over rather than holding a position with strength, right? Like you have to do so much more core work and so much more work on your limbs to gain that strength. And someone like Marin had the talent when she was this big, and now that she's this tall, it's floopsy. It's like dead in the hands, and it's all looks a little lackadaisical.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man or whatever.
Yeah. But I'm excited for the Junior Grand Prix final. I want to see Camila, Alyssa, Haein Lee, and Daria. To me, that's those four. That's super interesting rather than watching 5 Atari girls and the one that's not. Like that wasn't interesting as a viewer. It just looked like too much of the same. Whereas I'm excited.
It looked like watching a club competition.
Yeah.
Like watching
Like I'm excited to see this. I think they all have merit and they all have talent, and I like a little diversity. So, and I appreciate something about all of them. I like Daria as a skater. I really like Haein. I love Haein Lee's free skate. And my son, Artur Danilian. All right. Great
short program. The free skate for me, just with all the seat belts or whatever he's wearing. I mean, I get what they're going for, and I think he does it admirably. But it's really that short program that's so special to me.
Told us in his book that you don't win in gray. You do not win in gray. That's what he said. It's not a winning color. That red, it just gives you such confidence. And I love the 2 how they did the costume and the short.
He says wearing red.
Oh my God!
It is your color.
Another queen at work has this same shirt, and I saw him because I've noticed him when he wore it, and he is like a shy one. And I saw him looking at me when I wore it, and I was like, I had this shirt first, so okay, like
amazing.
Mm-hmm. Honey,
you and I own some similar outfits, and I feel like we should coordinate at least one day in Skate America where we both wear the red pants and the black turtleneck.
We can do it.
Yeah,
we can do it. Oh my God, we'll look like those twins. I want to dress my nephews up alike. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we'll be in the hallways of the arena asking people if they want to play. Okay.
I was less upset by Artur's free skate here because you could see that he is going for the technical stuff that he needs to be to get to the senior level. He's going for the quad sow. He did just
although this whole thing was total like just discombobulated kind of thing.
Right, but it wasn't like the program kept getting sloppy like it did last time. Like those little mistakes just drive you crazy. Where this, it's like, all right, we can do this damn jump, and then you'll be a strong man. Yeah. So.
Yes. And speaking of strong, though, like all of his moves are so decisive, and it's interesting because do we still forgive Boyanova for Rodionova and all these sorts of things? Like,
well, she didn't really. Okay,
his arms are so strong.
Wait. Rodionova was really coached by that Irina Goncharenko, who is our favorite interviewee on FS Gossips.
Yeah, but yet, like pot kettle, you know what I mean?
Doesn't matter. She is she knows what's going on. She gave another great interview this week about how Medvedeva shouldn't be afraid of Rika Kihira, but she was throwing all the shade again. I love whenever she talks about Mishin and Tukta Misheva, like she gets it.
Yeah. Right? Who's going back? Isn't she switching the music again?
Yeah, she's going back to the other program. And she was talking about how what Sherbakova needs to do to improve, and how she needs to work on her legs and her knee bend still, and that foot that dangles, you could tell. So she was saying that just because she's still a little girl with elastic arms, but she has to work and work on her legs. And I agree.
Okay.
And she was talking about Medvedeva needing better speed and flow when she's talking about the skating skills there. So, yeah, it was a great interview. I'll link that in the comments, too. I love a good Irina Goncharenko interview. She was talking about just the different skating skills and stuff. Whenever Brian talks about the first pancake, quoting Moskvina, it feels forced. It doesn't feel natural from within. It just
even though, and we'll talk about this with Nebelhorn, a lot of posts where basically people apologize for their own teams, like you gotta start somewhere or something, and it's just like, oh gosh. But to me, that's that first pancake. I'm all about a first approximation. I'm all about like go try it, see where we're at. But when it becomes too apologist, it seems a little cringe.
All right. Well, let's go to Nebelhorn, and let's start with the pairs because...
Let's go to Oberstdorf, Dave.
we know this arena well. It has all the flags up top. It's a beautiful arena.
Mm-hmm. Giant banner of Aliona in the background.
Oh, she had her baby!
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Mazel tov! Yes! Okay. Mazel.
Did she have a girl or a boy?
She had a girl. Megan Duhamel was also having a girl.
They're both having girls. Okay.
And someone didn't offer to carry Megan Duhamel's luggage when she was somewhere. I forget where. I was skimming over that post, and I was like, you go, Megan. Tell them that those people are rude, okay?
Oh, yet, although I would imagine Megan could also be offended if someone did. She'd be like, no, let me carry your luggage. I'm strong. Just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean I can't.
No, she's like very pregnant. Like Megan, like some people get very pregnant. Megan is one of them.
Okay.
Not like she's just like pregnant. I mean, I think it's because she's so tiny that you're like, oh, Megan, are you having the baby tomorrow? Like, please.
Yeah, how many? Yeah, okay. Got it.
So she is in that last trimester. My sister was ready to go at the end. She was ready to be done. Okay. So
Okay.
I just feel like Megan has coaching to do. She has nursing. We need to get this kid on the ice. Like she is planning. Let's get things going. Okay. She has that nursery done, and she is ready. Okay. She was watching all of Battle of the Blades. She was watching all of skating this weekend. Like she knew what was up. So
always does.
Because
she only has one mode, I think.
Well, because I messaged her and I said, don't you think it was interesting that the German judge was the one that was behind Alexa and Chris, because politically, like, they were with Aliona, but then they split, so how's that going to go? But the German judge loved them, so I guess they are coached by Robin, too. Who knows? It's just personal preference. But always just, like, funny. It wasn't an American or judge that was giving them the high marks. But, okay, let's start with Alexa and Chris, because we saw them at Mid-Atlantics, and then we see them here. The positives, I think that they did a lot of their elements really strong. I think that the elements that they did well were the best. Like, they had perhaps equally, if as good as KMT, if not better, depending on your preference, Death Spiral. And that's KMT's strong element, and it just, like, positioning. The twist was phenomenal. They don't go for a level 4 twist, because they don't go for, like, the split feature or the arm, but it is stunning and the best. And I don't see them doing the quad this year, unless they decide to
They have other things to focus on. Yeah.
I think
the quad never paid off as much as you would hope.
Well,
the quad twist, it didn't really make enough of a difference. Yeah.
And I don't know with her health if it's like a danger. You never know. So keep them healthy and go. I think this year, obviously they've switched the order of the jumps. Right? They're doing the toes first, or it was their second element after the twist, and they're doing the Sao Cao later in the program. So the positive there is that Chris has been good on his Sao Caos so far this year. And it's Alexa that's had problem.
Here's the thing. And this was happening at Mid-Atlantics, and it was definitely happening here too. They go into them seemingly with the same timing. And then the minute they turn, it's like time floats for both of them. And they're just so... I don't know if he's rushing because he's worried about it, or if she's kind of delaying because she's worried about him. But it's clear, like, you know, when Doug is always like, he thinks it's about the timing going in for, like, Jason or whatever. But I think that in general, it's clear that their timing is maybe just a little confused because they're so different.
Well, they're adjusting to the rough technique at an advanced age in skating, right? They're not,
and at different speeds. I don't know if one is maybe doing it more and one is just being stubborn and kind of late to the party on how they want that.
I think she is going to have to adapt to him at the end of the day. But the thing is, they will get negative GOE on the toes because they don't jump at the same time. However, the fact that they're rotating them is a huge win.
Yeah.
Because often in the past, we would see them do doubles on that element, or pop them into doubles, and they wouldn't, like the Olympic year, remember in the Ghosts, it would often be the side-by-side double into the last moment. And I do think that the fact that they're going for them is a positive, and Alexa has landed 3 out of 4 so far. Plus, we saw her land them in practice, and Chris landed the 1 at Mid-Atlantics. So it's at least doable. It's getting them the same time. I wonder how many run-throughs they do of this program. I would love to watch them train and, like, see a coach just like, you are going, if you want to win nationals, you have to run the beginning of this program and do that. On the days that you do full programs, the other day, you better do those first 5-6 elements clean, like $1 million each one. Because I think that the consistency is there. They've taken out the transitions that Aliona has tried to put in. So that's one negative, is that this program is perhaps a little bit empty. It's back to more of a Lilah program where it's just elements, skating.
It's still more elevated than that, in my opinion. But yes, it is very watered down in that way. Aliona was pushing them in the right direction. When we first saw them at Nebelhorn last year, there was so much hope from me and where this was going, and then
I think it was so much new, perhaps to they're not Aliona who can maybe work on 6 new things. Like they're maybe not the same level. We've seen that. It's taken how many years on these damn jumps, and we're trying to tweak them and get them, and it might have been, they might have.
I will say their kind of facial involvement and acting chops in general, especially in the short, like they did kind of come alive in a different way, at least that was a bit more engaging and hopeful to see, because sometimes we see that the color go out of them.
It's very Mino and Sand, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bringing that kind of like Disney magic to the love story.
It's Mino and Sand's kids do skate like them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
how could they not? I mean, of course they would.
They pick all the romantic pieces and they just go for it. But you know what? Use what you got. So they have that advantage over Ashley and Tim. I do think they could add another piece of choreography transition or two perhaps in this program just to give
There's
it
a couple too many smoke break kind of moments still. Yeah.
And they did not nail, Chris did not nail that moment that Alexa always loves to put on their social media that I love, where they stop and then they go into like the pose moment. He turned too quickly, and it kind of makes the program in terms of the components. It's like the picture that you remember. So overall, I thought their elements looked big and clean. They're not doing too many new elements, right? They're not like giving a quad or something like a double axel Euler sow or something. So the elements that they've done before, they're perfecting and they've gotten better and bigger. And I think when they go against Ashley and Tim, they just need to go clean and make the most of
because
those lifts.
Inherently they still, especially out of the Americans, they just look the best in their rawest form. But again, like you say, the fate knows how to smile on Ashley and Tim, and they tend to like sneak through doorways when they see one opening.
I think for this team, it's about getting their confidence back, right? I think the last couple of years were, and it's interesting because in 2017 they skated perhaps the most consistently when they had the least amount of training time. So if they can get back to that kind of confidence, I think it'll be super helpful. Also on the American front, Haven and Brandon went back to their Lion King program. That was the first time that they really pushed forward, and it was super successful. I think with the movie coming out this summer, probably perhaps influenced that decision. Jonathan, there was a live action version of the Lion King. My parents took my nephews to see it. I didn't.
And did they like it?
They loved it, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. Some people did like it.
Yeah. So I'm just...
I got you.
All right. Anyway.
But they choose like cool orchestral parts of it that it actually does seem like an epic kind of ballet in the beginning.
Renee Roca picked it. They had not. They were just.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But now.
He has improved as a skater. And if Nina Mosher would put him with Alexa. And she would be like, this is the team that's going to win Worlds. Or she would put Tim with Alexa. One or the other. Yeah. I think he's better for the lifts. So.
Yeah, he's a very good partner.
Yeah.
In those lifts and things like that. It just comes down. It's clear there's no jumps happening there. She can't do the double axel or the double
That was so funny because someone messaged you that saw them at a club competition and said, oh, they did their triples. And I was like...
Well, maybe they landed them there, but I was like, "Are you serious?"
One of them was a double axel, and hers was.
Yeah, but to this point, to see her land a triple Salchow and a double axel to me is a huge accomplishment because again, she was not able to do it. She was not able to do a triple Salchow or a double axel here.
Definitely the double. She's never really been able to rotate. That has always been a little under. But
yeah, I don't understand how you can start at such a deficit.
But I have to say, even without the jumps, if they just land the Salchow, and even if they pop the axles but do everything else clean, I think they're going to beat Tara and Danny at Nationals. Because this program is so good.
The Lion King program.
Yes. The program is so good. It's so inventive. They open in a lift. I mean, think about how hard that is to stand there.
And the final lift with the exit out of it was a little slow here, but... it was so cool. It ends with such...
Yeah, they fatutzed with the ending a bit, and I liked the original ending better, and I don't know...
Oh, yeah? Okay, I kind of liked this one, too.
It just seemed like it needs work. It was like we were waiting too long to catch up to the music or something.
Right, that's exactly right, yeah.
But it is strong program for them, and I think it will elevate them.
And that opening lift, it almost did have shades of that last year's program with Sui and Han, just in that it was innovative and interesting, and we're in right away. Again, I think the material is there, and he's like gangbusters. But I just don't understand.
The lifts are so many points, and their lifts are so good, and you're going against Tara and Danny, who don't have that strong element, and their strong is usually consistency, but... I really think it's going to be interesting because if Tara and Danny aren't in the top 3 at Nationals, will they go back to gym? Like, what are they going to do? Because they usually pull it together at Nationals, but it's seeming like Alexa and Chris are back in form. This is the Haven and Brandon's best program. And then you have Jessica and Brian who keep getting better. So it's going to be an interesting season for the U.S. pairs, even though... It's like a lot of people for that middle, right? They all...
Yeah, I mean, not relevant internationally, really. But truly, it will be an interesting shake-up how things go down.
It's like a lot of people that could between 8 and 20 at Worlds, right? Like, it's a lot of teams that could go right in that group. Now, they're against Alexa and Chris are against Kirsten and Michael. I think by next year they definitely should want to be beating Kirsten and Michael at these type of events, but you could tell that they're trying to rebuild their confidence. So I think
they're going to have to go slow. It's clear their strategy is slow.
Yeah, I think Kirsten and Michael. I think the new program, the free, I think is brilliant. You're going to hate it. I loved it. It has more of her skipping. There are so many little mini lifts and little things where Kirsten is stretching out. It reminds me of the Un Pas program, and at times it's that kind of a vibe. It's the kind of Julie Marcotte thing you hate, but this one, I just love it. I love the whole program. I was into it. I think they look really confident with their elements. They don't have, other than the death spiral, though, they don't have one element that I think is
a wow factor kind of moment.
Factor.
Yeah,
they're going for like +3 across the board.
Yeah.
And those lifts, his feet and his posture are not where they need to be to get them to like 4s and 5s. And I think that could really help them. So that's one thing they're going to really have to nail down, especially when all these teams are doing the same elements. Tell me how much you hate it. All right, let's go.
Okay, so she's a beautiful girl. Kind of had Grecian styling when she came out. Like I thought maybe we were going to watch a classically Hercules.
Grecian
kind
styling with
the hair and beautiful.
A stripe of bedazzling on the backs of her boots. Just a little.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, it's probably better I didn't see that. Mm-hmm. The opening for me, I get that they're trying. I understand what they are trying to achieve, and they just aren't achieving it. The opening is too random and unorganized. It's not quite separate. It's not quite together. I think this is a very much seems like I've written the moves are like discounted versions of an elegant program or innovative program. Like, you know how we used to call like it's like the poor man's Lori Nickel program or something. And I again, I am a huge fan of KMT in particular. And it's
really?
not, I truly am.
Jonathan, we need a montage put together. Someone needs to do it of every one of their programs and what you don't like this team. You might like her as a person.
I don't like their choreography. Their programs.
You don't like their
never
music and Julie and Kirsten.
Yeah, but to me that goes with it. And you know what? Julie's obviously great and does wonderful things for many people.
Because you don't seem to say that. Anyway.
I mean, I feel the need to say that because I don't want to just be a jerk, but it just never clicks for me. And I think she has so much more to offer that she's not able to give us. Personally, I find her completely inspirational with her like kind of going down and coming back up and all of this sort of stuff. And she has tremendous skills. I just think that these are I get it. Like you should have something like this here, but it's not that. You should have something.
Are you kidding? That's just they had a mini dance lift where she was like almost in a split and they were going
almost
rotational.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't need to be in a split. It was very effective.
Okay. I just thought it was like broad strokes about ideas of the kind of thing that would look good there.
People, put in the comments below which team you are on here. Do you love this program? Like, well, let's be. And does Jonathan?
That it's different.
Does Jonathan just hate that? I don't think you do.
I do. I really do.
I don't think you do.
It's more of an aesthetic difference I have with Julie, maybe, than I have with
KMT and Julie are like this. Okay. They're like that.
Now, what I will say is on both throw triple loops.
Kirsten, send your messages to Jonathan. Okay?
No, stop it. I really think she's like. We
can bedazzle and make like glittery Christmas cards together and send him like cold.
And send it to me. But I do think the opening to their short program like was pretty sexy. I thought it was a very sexy opening to their short program. Now, it's interesting.
You hated that program the last time we talked about it.
I know. Well, okay, I know. But then they had to go back to look at that until you just said it, Dave. They both look behind them and kind of clock where they're going for the throw triple loop. It's kind of an interesting... I don't know if that's like choreography or if that's them kind of spotting how they're getting into it. It's a fascinating thing that they're doing on both. I'm intrigued if that is a strategic thing that helps them technically, or if that's just something they threw in to be nice.
Yeah. Also, the North Koreans finally got new programs. And apparently Bruno Marcotte was, like, sent to North Korea to work with them. Like, I'm very curious to ask Bruno about this. Like, how do you get to North Korea? Like,
Right.
I don't think you could just like say I want to go to Pyongyang on Expedia.
Yeah, just get on Expedia and book your ticket.
How did that happen, Bruno? And like,
yeah.
How baller did you feel the entire time you were going to North Korea? Did you feel like Dennis Rodman? Like, what was happening?
Well, again, the biggest mystery about this team is where they do have like legitimate skating skills that I wonder where they came from.
And would you have felt a little bit more comfortable if the North Koreans came to you? Like, I don't want to be like Lisa Ling's sister and need Bill Clinton to come get me. Like, okay, no. All right, like if they don't like what I tell them to do on their throw, like I don't want the
exactly. Well, I wondered for them. We know like the kinds of pressure some of the Russian skaters feel about their results and perfectionism. I don't know how this might work for them. I mean, I think they're very talented, and it's clear that they are very hardworking because their conditioning was fantastic. They weren't out of shape or anything. And they did the Malagueña, which was kind of a fun departure for them. And they had a nice new free. It's just there's inconsistency to when we see them compete also.
And I'm sure they'll have the same programs at the Olympics, so they have 3 years to get them together.
That's right, yeah. They're in more investment programs. They don't like to just change them out. It's wasteful.
Yeah.
So.
I think they'll have a lot of time to get them ready. Don't worry, okay?
Oh, wait, okay. One of my favorite moments from the Paris competition was KMT's lift exit in the short program.
Oh, no.
Because you know how so many times when
you like that lift exit. That was...
Yeah, well, no, because so many times when they exit, they just kind of come down. And the momentum, they just kind of swing down. But they use that momentum to swing and keep going and do like an extra innovative exit. And I was a big fan. So.
Well, although they don't have the biggest throws, I thought that she achieved like the swoosh landing on them. So it was like...
And that's willpower. Don't you think?
She's a scary girl.
She's
also, we jumped down the same waterfall in Kauai. So... But I didn't get to go on one of the hikes she went on because I was with some older women and got outvoted. But I was like, there's one hike in Kauai where, let me tell you, some of these hikes, they all say that they're moderate and they are like no freaking joke. Okay? Because sometimes you're like gripping onto like rocks made from lava where you're like, I could fall backwards here and like definitely fall and twist my back.
Do some real damage. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, like I was fine jumping into the water. It was just getting out that I like twisted my back a little bit. But anyway, it's all...
Oh, yowzers. The same reaches as a swim-up bar.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a moment in that waterfall. It was so refreshing and beautiful and like metaphorical to our lives.
Sometimes when you walk through a waterfall, they say you forget whatever your past experiences are.
I was feeling...
I'm trying to remember the French spoken word, but I can't. Okay.
The meaning of that. We have to memorize it, okay?
I know. It's going to have to be like a rehearsed monologue. And we're going to do audition reels for everybody.
Please, send yourself to the audio, theskatinglesson@gmail.com. Reading this.
It needs to be, and we'll all vote. We'll all vote on who does the best.
Okay, send them, Mariah. Yeah. Send them too.
Okay.
Spoken word
I have to say, this dance event in Nebelhorn was cooking.
It was the Marie France Championships. Okay.
Yeah, it was. To mixed results, but...
Yeah. Okay, who do you want to start with? Let's start with the positives. Fear and Gibson, okay?
Oh my gosh. And we had seen them at the Autumn Classic, but...
I know, but like...
Didn't really touch on them too much, but I'm glad because we can really give them a moment here. The short dance or the rhythm dance rather, was
Move
fun.
Along, let's go to the free dance. Who gives a shit?
It's all about this Madonna and his opening move. I mean, that boy just knows how to move, but when he was down like fluttering the photography moments, incredible.
Her hair, her costume, the sass they're both giving, the attitude, the choreographic details. Although, again, this is one of those programs like the French where this is a hard free dance. Like, last year they had the program where it was interesting, but this one is really nuanced. It's going to take a ton of work. And I found myself wanting to, like, be in the rink and, like, yell and clean up the program and like yell about like more speed here, this needs sharper. Like
this I would love to see be a real moment.
This program has all the potential to get all the points. Like,
well, and when she sits up on his shoulder facing that way and he carries her with no arm and just like swings around that edge and she is just selling and holding with her core like crazy. It's a move that looks fun. And yet you're like, this is outrageously demanding. So it's an incredible moment.
There are some teams you could tell that when they work with the choreographer, they're like playing and inventing and coming up, and other stuff the choreographer just has to work. And this is one of the teams where you could tell that they are adding. Like Madison Chalk, I bet, and Marie-France vibed on that whole belly dance program. And I'm not sure if it was Romain or it was Marie-France that did this program, but I think whichever, they were like in sync. Like they vibe
because
with
it had a sense of true individuality. Like it felt very natural to them. They look good in it.
This is everything that like a Hubble and Donahue would have done back in the day, kind of like that, kind of innovative. And you could tell whereas like the Romeo and Juliet was like work, like pulling teeth, going to the dentist, like let's get this program done. This program is like, it probably just came alive.
Sparked joy all over the place.
And did you notice they have like 3 seconds of the song hung up in there, and then it goes into like a prayer, like everything. It is so fantastic. Everything is like a beautiful picture. It's beautiful lines. Now, the judges have been slow with them. Well, because they're not from a usual skating country. They're kind of that random team that was like third tier, what we loved last year. Like, they're moving up, and they have to keep knocking these teams off.
I was like, is this an ice coverage thing? Is this a flow and speed thing? But as I was trying to watch with those kinds of eyes, this program does that.
It needs to get a little bit more fine-tuned before they'll really start. But it's the kind of thing where each competition, they need to knock 1 or 2 teams off. Yeah. Right? Like each competition, they need to take off a Smart and Diaz. They need to clip off Hawaii
and they're
Baker.
Doing that. And the ending of this program, I mean, if this wasn't built for primetime television, I don't know what is. Like, it could not have been more
This is a viral moment.
Entertaining. This is, you want to see this at like the Grammys or something, that, especially those ending poses, it like kept surprising you and it kept getting more and more innovative. It was just
It made me love Madonna again. Because I feel like the last 10 years, I was like, if Madonna...
Talk it out, Dave. Talk it out.
Okay, there are some musical artists that sometimes die young, and you don't get to this embarrassing stage like Madonna where they're like trying to act young or trying to have like they're trying to thirst for attention, which she always has, but it used to work before, and now it seems really sad, or she's wearing a grill, or she's doing something super offensive like on Instagram, like talking to your brother, and you were like, if she had died at age 50, we would be like, oh, we loved her, right? Oh, she was great. And now
it doesn't give you the time to reverse that narrative.
It's like, right?
Mm-hmm. Being dignified now doesn't detract from your edginess and frontier braving that you did earlier.
We were like, don't try to keep up with the tweens now. Like, that shouldn't be your goal. Now you seem like when the mom is trying to sleep with her daughter's boyfriend. Like, Madonna gives off that energy. So let Lourdes have her time. Manage her career. Make her genius.
Right.
Do something.
Or just help endorse Fear and Gibson.
Yes. Okay? Like, there's just something a little bit cringy about Madonna. And although her abs are impressive, yet terrifying. So, I enjoy this program a lot. I think it has a lot of potential.
This would do a lot for the sport.
Also, Smart and Diaz beat Hawaii and Baker in the rhythm dance. And I have to say that you can tell that Olivia Smart flippin' loves being Olivia Newton-John at the end of Grease. She lives for it. She lives for her pants and that outfit that she's wearing.
And the hair.
The hair and the costume. And you could tell that when you love the program, you give it just that extra little bit of effort. Okay?
Of course.
Because... And you could tell they love this Grease
program. Are you
program.
implying their weird, arty clown program doesn't resonate with her as easily as Grease the musical?
Her or me. Okay? So I want to like it, but it doesn't have a part of that free dance that sings. The way... Like, remember how Natalie was the Rose from Le Petit Prince or whatever, and they did the whole... But there's a part of that program that just, like, they had a section where the music almost, like, sings and sweeps, and it just... This, you never get to that point. Like, we're still working it, and then the music changes, and, on ice comedy, for me, it's not my jam. And...
But it's interesting because it's almost, in the rhythm dance, there's almost a whimsical kind of comedy to it that works brilliantly for them.
She is in better condition than she's ever been, and he is a little bit of a dud. And I think he's a fine ice dancer. It's just she's giving you Olivia Newton-John, but he is not John Travolta, and he's just not trying to be.
I'd take him over John Travolta, but I think
that kind of energy, John Travolta in Grease in the Day. I'm not talking about John Travolta in Scientology kissing the guy on the plane and then denying and still pretending he has a wife, and then his son dies because he didn't take his medication, and then and then John Travolta pretending to fly Oprah to Australia, not that John Travolta with the weave who can't pronounce Idina Menzel. Not that John Travolta. John Travolta, when he was still cute and Look Who's Talking and in Grease. Okay, this is well.
Well, because here's the thing. I think he moved. I think
about pop culture there.
I know. I kind of like it. Adrian knows how to move, but they almost seem like they are better, maybe on the floor.
They're better as friends.
Amazing. Oh, he can be my friend. But I think they're better musical theater, kind of on the floor dancers than they might be skaters, because I think it's going to be very hard for them to overtake the other Spanish teams.
Listen, she is giving you the most, and he needs to give you some BDE here to be able to pull off. All right, if you're wearing that costume.
I agree.
All right,
I agree.
And he's just not doing it. All right.
I don't know. Well, he does it for me.
He just looks like he's been dominated by that Madison Hubble and is put in line. But you know what? You need to be giving it, because this program, actually, it could work. The Grease program could work. It's
for sure. I think it was an interesting vehicle for him. For
it's
sure.
Gonna be
it's getting stronger already.
It's getting stronger. They did miss the Twizzles in the free, and if they hadn't missed the Twizzles, they likely would have beaten Hawaii and Baker, which would have been a huge win for them. So that really cost them. She's in much better condition than she's been in the last 2 years. It looked to me, just looking at her shapes and her flexibility and her extension and the way she's skating, looks more like she did the first time when we saw them when they skated that program to circles. She's coming alive again, where she was kind of middling the last 2 years. And their Twizzles look a lot better when they do them. They didn't look sharp. So at least they look like they are on track this season. So I think that there's a lot of hope that wasn't there before. They should do it this year. They should be.
But what do you mean by do it? I don't think they're going to make that world team if there's only one Spanish spot. I still think it's going to Sarah. Really?
Well, for this team, I think they have the ability, but they haven't proven the consistency yet. They haven't proven the mental part, but they didn't have either last year. And they at least have the programs and the skating. They need to nail it the next couple of competitions and get that consistency to really get the judges and everyone. And that's going to be the interesting point. But I at least see that the potential is there. And I didn't see it as much the last 2 years. And I'm seeing it more. You see the shape she's hitting in that free dance. You see this her skating. It's really strong.
But I'm just going to say it. I still think the Fear and Gibson free dances should beat them.
But they're not against Fear and Gibson.
No, I just mean in general.
Who cares?
Even I just feel in general, it's interesting. These kinds of teams are the teams that I am surprised that the Brits aren't kind of moving past right now.
I think they can. I think it's going to look. You can't be sixth in the rhythm dance. So
yeah.
You can't do that. So you need to move ahead. All right, girl. You need to. Get it done, all right?
Okay, get her done.
Listen, Marie-France isn't going to be crying over you not going to Worlds for Spain when she has the French spoken word program to nail for her Oscar, for her Academy Award. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry. She's going to be picking out what raincoat she should wear at the Worlds, and that's where her focus should be, okay?
Right. Okay.
Who's going to do her hair? How good is she going to look on TV? That's what I'd be worried
about. She's going to look very good.
She's look, I've got this Canadian-Danish team. She's a great performer and a great dancer. He's hot as shit. We need to work on his knees. His arms are great. The low body, we need him to be a little bit more commanding, but they did win Nebelhorn and deserve to. But can they beat Piper and Paul? I don't see them there yet because...
No, but I think, that Hawaii and Baker kind of Grand Prix final spot, I mean, the Canadians are for it. Now, I'm going to...
Baudry, what is...
Fournier, Baudry, and Sorensen.
But she's got the two names, yes, it's the whole...
I mean, what I like, again, is what I initially was so drawn to about Hubble and Donahue, the strength and the size and the power of this team. And I know, and she was really kind of getting into it. Like she was feeling herself this time in that kind of female empowerment
She was
thing
feeling herself in that free
that
dance.
camp knows how to do.
And I usually hate summertime, but I was with her. I was like, all right, Quebec
it was
Walker.
so sexy that summertime. Like it was, and I didn't quite, it wasn't clicking for me at Lombardia, but it was already that much more solid here. Now the Bonnie and Clyde. Now that's a sexy opening. Take note, KMT, for their short program, which I thought was also a nice, sexy opening, but this was a sexy opening. I thought the music for the pattern was really, really great. Mm-hmm. Now, because of Twitter, which I'm trying to let go of all that, like, skating psychoticness. You were right. And therefore, like, I didn't, like, be as weird this week. In this hypersensitive world, there's a lot of like gun imagery, as there should be in Bonnie and Clyde, but when they're like shooting in their twizzles and stuff, I don't know, it just made me inherently nervous for them, but it does kind of work.
Oh my God.
In that
One time Miss Val called me and she was like, Skinner was pointing her imaginary guns in our direction. Or in like the team's direction.
Like, didn't Michelle get a lot of flack for doing a shoot her in the head when she kind of made an error? Like, I don't know.
No, we only mentioned that later on. Okay,
okay.
We didn't take that literally at that age, so we needed to like.
Right.
Nowadays, if you did that, they would like call a psych eval on you in high school.
Right.
Well, you have to have like no tolerance. So.
Okay.
Lawsuits have changed. Okay, things have changed. Society has changed, Jonathan.
Would you like, if you were John Luke, would you like to give a lawsuit to your parents for not making you taller?
Yes, and he already is. I'm just trying to see if we have anything with the Canadians. I want to say that I don't think that they'll pass Piper and Paul this year, but moving towards Beijing, Beijing, that's what the Olympics are. I get confused. I'm like, wait, the next ones are in Tokyo, then Beijing. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that they just need to keep pushing because they do have something special, but it's going to be good for Canada overall because it's all Canada has. Okay, we have.
Yeah.
I think it'll push it in that direction. So, and I'll make them both better. John Luke and Caitlin. We knew when they first got together that the size difference was a problem. It just never goes away, and it's becoming detracting. I think from their performance, like distracting at times, where I'm like, actually instead of focusing on their elements, I'm like, wait, is she taller than him if you took them off the ice? And like, what is happening here?
Well, and it wasn't helped by, again, I totally understand what they were doing with the night fever, because I'm sure Austin Powers was such a fan favorite, and
they
they're
did
trying to
forever.
capture some sort of that mood, and to make her look like kind of the Jersey rat girl with this huge teased hair, like.
Did you call her a Jersey rat?
Well, isn't that an expression from that era? I think it's called. Oh my God, I don't know. It's like this kind of.
Watch your words, girl. KMT and I are coming for you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's Jersey appropriation, but like, she's looking like one of those girls that was in the movie. I understand, but like this. It was unfortunate. What overrode the authenticity to the movie was that it didn't do her any favors. It made the hair so big that it really accentuated the size difference, and it just was not.
Her hair was too big.
It really was. It was, and the knees were a little stiff. It was a little frantic. The shtick at the end when they were like carrying it beyond was cringy because I think they thought they had done better maybe than they did.
He has very good skating skills for his size, but in the long run, it's like, how good are they? And he is so slight. Oh,
man, when he pulled out Beethoven flamenco or whatever was happening, you still see he does know how to dance.
He does.
He does have an air about him.
And they had to do something. They had to do something flipping different because they have been in that same genre for their entire career. That they had to push out of it. But
that really highlighted him, and I think this was the best they could come up with. And there were some moments when you watched him like own that space that it was incredible. And that opening leap of faith she does, and this like kind of turn into the
season together. They're not skating with the unison of people that have been together for 8 years. I noticed that a lot on their twizzles. I think there's always been like a confidence thing. There's a lot going on, I think, caused by the size difference. I think causes a lot of insecurity. I think it's a lot of pressure on the girl when
which is unfortunate. You know what I mean? And we've seen her kind of struggle.
You have the pressure of him being the better skater and him being so short, right? Like you have to, and that I think messes with someone. But if they want to stay ahead on the world team, because they're not going to get the lift points, they're just not, right? They need to get the points for the PCS and for any of the step sequences. And the twizzles, they have got to be spot on every single time. And I think that it gets a little off sometimes where they'll be twizzling and she'll be a half turn different than he is. And they need to look like dialed in. And I think it got a little sloppy at times.
By nationals, I mean, it was great that they made the Grand Prix final, although, other people were withdrawing, obviously. But I think by nationals already, the writing was kind of on the wall about some of these teams coming up. Now that
the writing is on the wall now. If Ponomarenko and Carrera, right? Carrera and Ponomarenko would have beaten them if they didn't mess up those twizzles in the free.
Right.
And though I think that Hawaii and Baker's program is much more nuanced and has a lot more going on, and his
Carrera and Ponomarenko are more reliable in a way.
They're like old school Igor, where it's like easy to watch. The guy is big and the girl is like tiny and going around him, but it's just easy to watch. It's like, it just kind of makes sense, right? Like
easy to understand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, totally.
Standard size difference, easy. They do the Latin program, and Anthony is improving in his machismo and his partnering skills and his skating, and they look to be more together and more confident, and it looks like Igor lit a fire under their behind going into this year. Maybe having that junior team get all the attention from your rink moved them a little bit forward, and now it's going to be tight at nationals to get that third spot. And look,
and there's several teams.
The American judge on the panel was the Igor judge. There was an Igor judge here. The Canadian judge was a Marie-France judge. Jody Abbott was the Canadian. The other one was the Igor judge from the U.S. But you could just even tell in how they marked Hawaii and Baker versus Ponomarenko. But it's going to be close between the two of them at nationals, and they're going to be working it. And it's easy when someone has three teams to knock off the third and give it to an outside coach.
Right.
Hawaii and Baker, that's going to be easy to knock off. So they have to work twice as hard to keep their spot because they're coming for you.
Yeah, and they don't have a cap to where they can go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like their potential may be greater.
Yeah. Potential greater. If it's not this year, it'll be next, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing.
I find an Olympic berth is going to be very, very tricky.
It's going to be very tricky because you have Aaron Ponomarenko, you've got Nguyen and Kolesnik, and then you don't know what could happen with other teams. So they're going to have to really, really push it to not have a Tanya Kwiatkowski career because otherwise you're going to be the pewter in the Olympic year. And tough, and it's a tough field, and it doesn't mean that you're not a good dancer, but it's just to make it in that field.
Yes.
Anyway, but I do think the career of Ponomarenko is strong. How about Mariah Bell? We didn't get to see her short program, and everyone's been asking, where is the link? Where is the video? Where is the video? And it's weird is that some people took home videos, but they don't even seem to have this. I don't know if it's geo-blocked. I don't know. I checked all of the areas.
The usual sites?
Yeah.
It just completely missed the feed.
Yeah, because for whatever reason. And she looked confident to me in the free. I'm so over Hallelujah, but it was lovely and it was very nice. And a lot of her jumps look sideways, and she landed them. You could tell that she's got some thigh, quad muscles this year going on, and she looks quite physically strong. And I think it's helping. And
settled. There was a bit more settled quality to the whole program.
Doing both lapses in a bonus, so they're not going for like too much content, but they're maximizing what she can do. Doing the flip toe and the two lutzes in the second half. So
a generically lovely program.
Yeah. Generically lovely and has the more angsty short. So she's still setting herself up for if she could.
She should be fine.
She could win nationals. Last year was really her year to do that. You never know what's going to happen with Alyssa Liu, but with her components and if she grows half an inch, those jumps could all go. So Mariah Bell is in it, and Raphael seems more invested in her than he is in Marin Honda. So
I mean, wouldn't you be at some point, you know?
He looks over it. I think
Yeah.
Marin is just there to babysit the younger sister, Sarah, who's going to train with him, as was written about. I mean, she did a lovely program, and actually there's a great video that I watched where someone had the judges screen during Marin's program.
I saw that someone had put that up. Isn't that interesting?
They're like, the ISU will change it so you can never see that again. But that'll never happen in any rink ever again. But it was kind of cool to watch the program, and I was like, that judge is on point. That's how... she's really going for zeros and ones on most of those jumps, and then on the spins and footwork, she can go for more if she works. But again, it's like, she's so lovely. The program is lovely. I don't like the dress that much for the music, but it's like, she needs the training and the strength and the conditioning to really...
I think she needs the motivation, and you see that fire isn't there. And
at
so,
all.
I mean, you know, double flip or not in the short program, until she decides to kind of invest in it, it's not going to happen.
0 points.
Which is too bad, because, again, such inherent quality.
And over, a lot of the Japanese
almost
skaters...
all these other women. Yeah.
In Japan, look, she does not have the technical content, but in Japan, a lot of the skaters had rough summers, and they're uneven right now. If she were trained...
I has been ill. Wakaba's kind of in flux. Yeah, like, I mean... But she's had several months.
can never get off the ground on her jumps. Like, you gotta move it.
This will always be one of those stories, one of many that happen all the time of what could be, but it's just
peak at 12, you know? It's like, all right, unfortunate, But still, a lovely skater. Her exhibition was so fun to watch and great. But again,
do we know who choreographed it? Because someone was asking me, and
the German asked me that too. That Marie from Germany, she writes us every. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wasn't my turn to watch. But she needs more oomph on every program. I just see it every spin, every step. It's like, come on, train like Michelle. Get that extra core work. Get those plyometrics.
Which can if you're not in the mood, and that's what I get. Is she's not really in the mood.
She has all the gifts. A little like the flippin' lots.
And sometimes those gifts are burdens.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't ask for that gift. And then being told about all your gifts and feel like you're squandering them, I'm sure it just only makes it worse. So
but
tough.
We are. So
I
don't know. It was like an exciting. It was an alright weekend. Nebelhorn Jason pulled out. The men's event was a real dud.
Got a bit, eh? And poor Nam. You know, it's just
for Nam not to win. When this is his moment, it's tough. Again, like, he's one of those people that had the skating before he grew, and now it's like you have to work so much harder when you get taller. And
at only 21.
I know, but it seems like he's 45 and skating.
It does seem like he's one of those on the cusp of 30.
When we saw that Mariah Bell was only 23, I was like, I feel like we've known her for a decade. This is...
I know. Well, we have.
That's the thing. I'm like, 23. Wow, you're young, Mariah. Okay.
Right? Yeah. You can do this.
Yeah. All right. But I thought that I liked that she was gritty here.
One of the funny moments for me was by Chenko's short program. Mm-hmm. He kind of botched the triple axel, I think, on the words. Oh, no, wait. There was at some point in the program after the triple axel where it said, "This is the end." And I was like, one, if only. And two, it's never the end for you. You keep skating and skating. And then he botched the triple toe.
He represents Israel. I mean, come on.
I know. Exactly. So
if you want to sign up, it's like, well,
this is the end. This is the end.
This is the end of our show. So what was your moment of the week, John? Oh, Gracie Gold is doing regionals. So
I know.
I'm excited.
Philadelphia. Do you think maybe I'll go?
Oh, please do.
Maybe I'll.
Honestly, I hope that she goes for watered down content and just goes clean. Don't go for like the Lutz toe. You don't need it right now.
Doesn't have to be that, yeah.
Just go clean and big and just skate.
Optimize your chances for success.
Yeah. Like, put that in at sectionals, okay? Just come on. Just baby steps, make it through, win that regional title. Come on. I'm ready for it. She needs to do it. Come on, Gracie. Like,
you got this.
Oh, and I booked tickets, third row. Seeing it Thursday night in Vegas.
Oh, wonderful. I bought tickets for Elton John. He's coming to Manhattan in April.
Who's flipping cooler? All right, I watched the Elton John movie on the plane. All right,
I did too. I wanted it to be better, but I love him as an artist. So,
all right. Well, we've got lots of Japan Open. The event in China is coming up. So we want to know, what did you think of the French programs this year? Are you Team Dave on KMT or Team Jonathan? How do you feel about Daisuke Takahashi and ice dance? Are you more excited for the Junior Grand Prix final now that we have a little diversity sprinkled in? And how would you feel about Nebelhorn hold an edge and look sexy? Bye, guys.